Well, welcome back, listeners, and this is week 8 of Talking Parra. And with us today, we have Adam Martin, we have Hayden from the Entertain House, we have Maddie from Tate Sports Cards, and I'm Troy from the Parra Cave podcast. And during this episode, we are going to review review the game against Newcastle Knights up there at McDonald Jones Stadium. I know one happy host is crunching at the bit to talk about this game. And then we'll also preview the game up in Darwin, the Eels versus the Cowboys at TIO Stadium. So let's get straight into it. Over to you, Adam.
Yeah, wonderful. And as you said, Troy, welcome to Talking Parra. I believe it's episode 7. And yeah, very happy. I've still got the car flag on the car from the weekend. And I've pretty much wore a Parra jersey around Newcastle every day. So nothing better than beating Newcastle, but it's even better to flog Newcastle. Awesome day out at McDonald Jones Stadium, besides the over-the-top lines to get in. And yeah, it was a pretty eventful day. So look, we'll start with the lower grade score. New South Wales Cup on the day. Running away winners once again, 26-8. As I just mentioned, half an hour, 40 minutes worth of lines to get in the ground. So unfortunately, couldn't catch the end of the New South Wales Cup like I usually do. But look, by all reports, it was a great game. Jordan Rankin, I believe, once again killed it for the Parramatta Eels reserve grade boys, New South Wales Cup boys. So I believe that puts them pretty high up the ladder as well. I'm just trying to get the ladder up, and they've changed the website, so they want to make it difficult. So it puts them into 7th now. No, it's Jersey Flag, sorry. I was going to say I thought they're higher than that. Puts them into 4. So both our New South Wales Cup and our first grade team in the top 4, which just shows wonderful depth. And look, you look at the other teams there, and you've got Penrith in first place as well. So obviously shows great depth for them. But shows that our system's working. And for years, our junior system and stuff has copped a bit of criticism. Look, we've always had strong juniors at the Jersey Flag, the Harold Matts level and stuff. But our New South Wales Cup team and depth has really seen to struggle. And look, I know we've got some fair few injuries in the club at the moment, but to see our New South Wales Cup boys still getting awesome results, like they've lost 2 games this year, and both those games have been when we played in Melbourne and I believe the Gold Coast when first grade were there. So obviously you take away a pretty heavy squad and, you take 5 or 6 players, first grade quality players out of that team. But awesome result there. And the Jersey Flag boys, they've went down. They're in 7th place. They went down on the weekend, 27-20 to the Knights at Cessnock on Saturday. So mixed results, but look, I'll get over to Troy first. Troy, I can see you. Even though you got that camouflage jersey on, but I can see you. Your thoughts on obviously the massive 39-2 win over the Newcastle Knights?
Yeah, well, it was a pretty impressive bounce back from the Eels, and just a little bit of an interesting stat. It's the first time in, I think it was 46 or 47 years that scoreline 39-2 has been posted in a game of first grade rugby league. So there you go. There's a little stat for you. But yeah, look, it was always going to be a tough game for Parramatta going into that game. Newcastle obviously buoyed by Kalen Ponga's re-signing for a further 5 years. So they were hoping that would spur their team on. They were back at home after a previous week loss. So it was always going to be tough. And for us, we need to bounce back after the 1-point loss to the Tigers. I thought we started really well, and it just kept on flowing and flowing and flowing, I thought. So, yeah, kudos to the there was a bit of dramas with the lineup, which I'm sure we'll get into, and a lot of fans unhappy with the lineup, the late mail that came through. But in saying that, I don't think it was much of a drama, to be honest. I thought Jake Arthur had a reasonable game. He didn't have a standout game. I thought he had a reasonable game, and Dillon Brown is one of the best defensive halves in the competition. So to have him in the centres, strengthens up the centres. And I thought it didn't really make much of a difference, to be honest. I mean, Dillon scored a try from the centres, so his form keeps on going. But yeah, good win for the boys, and an important one because in the next couple of weeks we've got a few tough games ahead. So good to get those points on the board and 2 points in the competition.
Yeah, I'll jump in there and give you my couple of points quickly because I'm going to have a lot of points about this game, as we know. But look, I thought Jacob Arthur, he did the job. He didn't do the job that Dillon Brown could do, but it was a bit of a coaching masterstroke by Brad as well to allow Dillon to attack inside of Sean Lane. So he attacked inside of Sean Lane, which always gave him that 2 men on the outside, and that's how he scored his try and got a couple of ball away. Obviously Reed got the ball away for Sean Lane for that first try. But I think it was Hayes Perham's try where Dillon jumped in the first receiver, played as a half as well, and put Sean there. So I thought Lane had a pretty good, solid game as well. Actually, we know he was great before that injury, and I thought he'd come back a bit average after that, but he was superb. And one thing I will say is I don't agree with one thing with you, Troy. I think if Dillon was there, we probably would have won the game by 60. If he played 5'8", we didn't go. We went to that left edge closely, but we didn't attack as fluently as we needed to. We did what we had to do to win the game. It seems weird saying when we scored 6 tries, but Newcastle were fucking ordinary. Let's be honest. They were terrible. They were absolutely terrible. We talk about our barge over plays every week. How many tries did we score off barge over plays? But let's be honest, I could have been out there and scored those tries. There was just no contact from them. You touched on Kalen Ponga. I'll let Kalen Ponga know pretty late in the second half when he made a half-assed run and pretty much threw himself to the ground that I could probably do that for $1 million a year. But, yeah, look, my thoughts on the game was, we scored some soft tries and we didn't have to work for them. It was a good bounce back because we played like shit against the Tigers. But the Tigers wanted it more than you do. Like Newcastle just didn't turn up at all. And the worrying thing for us is I really hope the Cowboys turn up this week. The Cowboys have been up and down with their form. I hope the Cowboys turn up because if they don't turn up and we get another easy win going into a game against Penrith, then, we haven't had to play football. Really. We didn't have to play football on the weekend. We played one out shit that got us a result. So I'm not looking back at that game. There's not a memorable moment from that game where you go, that was one of the best tries we scored. Or, the try off the scrum was pretty good, off the kick, but it was messy. It wasn't complete. I think you might have said it in the group chat to me, Matt, that if that was 30 metres back, it would have given Bailey the time to wind up. So,
yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those games. I love beating Newcastle, as we know, and I love smashing them. I love seeing their attack was ordinary, but the atmosphere at the game, it was good for the Parramatta fans, but it wasn't the same. I don't know about you, Hayden. You were there. I'll give your thoughts first on the game, but I'll probably touch on the atmosphere a bit later on because I've made the statement there'll be more Parramatta fans there than Newcastle fans. I think I was probably right. But, Hayden, your thoughts on give me the atmosphere. What do you think? It was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it?
It was pretty weird. It didn't even feel like a game of footy. It felt like footy training, to be honest. A little bit disappointing obviously, we're all Parramatta fans, so we're all thrilled with a big win like that. But as you say, the atmosphere was a little bit odd, really, really quiet. No points besides the 2 points scored early on by the Knights. I think Parramatta under a small amount of pressure in both the New South Wales Cup and the NRL side to be able to be scored against in the 2 points and then the try in the first game and still be able to win their games by decent margins was really good to see for our sides under that slight bit of pressure. Not too much to say about the game for mine. I thought Reid Marnie had a really good game, if not between Reid Marnie and Isaiah Papali'i for mine for man of the match. Isaiah's been in some fantastic form. I think a few weeks ago I was saying that Isaiah should be back to the bench and Matto in the starting side, but I really take that back because Isaiah's been killing it, ripping it up in the second row. Jacob Arthur, I think I'll agree with Troy that he had a reasonable kind of do-the-job game, but there were definitely some questionable plays. There was a kick early on that ended up going dead, and it could have put the Knights back in the game. It was only, I think, a 10-2 scoreline at that point, so pretty disappointed with that, but definitely did the job for the most part, and we're giving him another chance this week against the Cowboys.
Yeah, interesting. So, I'll get your thoughts on that too, Matt, but are we a kick-happy team? Because we've seen it from Gutho in several games. We don't seem to want to push that final play. We look to push that kick when we've got half a chance. So, we've got some speedsters in the team, no doubt, but half the time the boys don't know the plays on. So, Matt, your thoughts on that and obviously the game?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I remember back in, when was it, Tim Smith, he literally scored every try from a kick. I feel like we're going back to just the old days of Penrith kick and hope of a lot of the plays. But yeah, it was a weird one because there was no set plays. It was just barge over, easy stuff. The set play from the scrum, as I said, if it was 30 meters back, Bailey would have just got there. We saw, I think, Melbourne do it for Xavier Coates last night. And we know me and Troy always used to say to the trainers every game, back when Bevan French was there, why don't we just kick from the scrum?
Never a fullback at home.
Yeah. And yeah, Bailey's got that speed, and it was a lucky one it came off. Yeah, it was a smart play. In BA's interview, he said that they created a role where Dillon could still get involved in 5'8", and we saw that with Lane moving to center and creating that extra man. So be interesting to see this week. Opacek's been named, so maybe it's a case of do we rest Opacek for another week and just maintain that same team, or we just go back and bring Opacek in at center and put Dillon back and put Jake back to the bench or 18th man.
It's interesting you say that because
Jake's just done his job.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say about those blokes being named on the bench because in the Parramatta group today, there was people, why are we naming Jacob Arthur, like the Arthur haters? The poor kid's going to cop it. And I mentioned this to his father after the game as well. Because, like I said, I thought he was solid. He wasn't superb, but he did his job. That's all he needs to do. And that's what Brad said. And I said to Brad, look, are we going to get any boys back soon? Like, when are they going to be back? I said, hopefully for the Penrith game. He goes, oh, yeah, we'll be right. We'll just keep rolling through. Everyone's just got to keep doing their job. I said, Brad, it's not a press conference. You can be honest with me. But, no, we turned around and, I just think that they're being named on the bench because we only have 19 fit players at the moment. And they said that last week. We've got 19 fit players, so you may as well name them and hope by some camps they are ready to go. And we can make those changes, obviously, with the team there.
And that's what I think Gutho said on the radio this morning. He said we only pick the players that we're able to pick at the moment because we just don't have the selections. And without the NRL giving exemptions, we didn't have 4 or 5 players out like the Bulldogs with COVID. So without giving those exemptions, these players outside the top 30 just simply can't play. And one thing I will say is if Gutho is listening to this podcast, what was with the line dropout that went out in the full? The first line dropout of the game for Parramatta, what was with that?
You know what it did? It set Newcastle's mind frame. They just wanted points on the board, and I screamed it out. No, you're here to win. You're here to win the 2 points, Newcastle, not take the 2 points. Get it right. So I was in.
So it was a tactic.
It's a tactic. Yeah.
That's definitely not. Well, it's definitely not something that Brad's coached into Gutho, surely.
Yeah, I don't think he would have been real happy with that one. Look, let's touch a bit more on some big moments in the game. I want to touch quickly on Dylan Brown's defensive performance. I know you mentioned it before, Troy, but let's not forget, that we're going to remember that he was marking up against the Origin standard centre in Dane Gagai. And he made Dane Gagai look very ordinary. Like, he heard him twice. I don't know if that took him out of the game or what, but it's like he wasn't out there. And we'll touch on what you just mentioned there, Troy, as well. I'll get your thoughts on this because I know you'll give him a bit about this one. I know you weren't happy about it. Zach Cheney, we obviously applied for a grant to get him to play in the game. Obviously, we needed a winger or a centre, or I was close to putting the boots on if they gave me a run there, but we needed something. The NRL's knocked it back and said, we don't have the players out. Well, we have 7 players out on the wing or centre. If we were playing Penrith last week and it was a big game, a Channel 9 game, and they marked it as one of the games of the year, do you reckon the NRL would have approved Cheney?
Oh, if he played for Penrith, maybe.
Yeah, if you played for the opposition, probably, but not for us. Nothing seems to go our way in that case.
I don't think that's the case. I think if it was a bigger game, I even think if Newcastle were going better, he would have got approved. They would have looked.
Is Cheney in the top 30?
No.
That was the problem. Yeah. What I heard was they didn't approve it because we still have 2 spots apparently.
And why don't we just upgrade him? Well, are we signing?
That's 100%.
because we're signing Semi Radradra. We started that rumour 3 weeks ago, and look at it go. It's gaining momentum.
Isn't he injured at the moment, Bob?
He's only got a dodgy knee. It's all right. Some of the best players in this
He's always had a dodgy knee.
Some of the best players in this podcast have dodgy knees, all right? So
you mentioned Dillon Brown caused some damage with Dane Gagai. He obviously did hurt him because he's out for a month now with a broken cheekbone. So
yeah.
Oh, he hurt him. Yeah. sure, it was an accident. If it wasn't an accident, he would have copped 6 weeks for that. All right, I'm going to go to the moment of the game quickly, and then obviously your player of the game. So, look, like I said, I didn't think we were ordinary. I thought we did a job, but my moment of the game was probably Papali'i's first try. He was held up for all money and just strength and determination. Obviously, he got himself over to get the ball down, but that was right in front of us. And I've gone back and watched the game as well, and the cheer from the crowd, it really highlighted how many Parramatta fans were there as well. And it was right in front of us. And if you watch it, I don't know what you boys will listen like at home, but as soon as he scored that try, Hayden, you were across the other side, that Parra chant went around the whole ground.
It was a fantastic try. That was probably my moment of the game as well, I was going to say. Great job by him to score a double, but that first try, a lot of momentum with him and able to get through some big plays. Bradman Best was one of them as well, wasn't he?
He was what, sorry?
Well, Bradman Best was one of those players that he was trying to make the tackle.
He ran over Best twice, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Best hasn't been the same since last year when he had that injury. That's all I'll say. Matt, your sorry, Hayden, I'll get your player of the game there. My player of the game, first of all, was I know you probably touched on it before, but I'm going to probably go with Reid Mahoney. I thought he was superb.
I agree. I think a lot of people are saying Isaiah Papali'i and Moses was good again, but I think for me it's Reid Mahoney. I think that in the last 3 weeks he's been good, but he hasn't been great, and there's been some errors in his game, and I thought he was really tidy and efficient. So I think Reid Mahoney was man of the match for mine.
You're right. He's probably been a bit off the last couple of weeks. I've heard he's been at the gym a lot on the gym mats trying to do this thing where you throw your head back over and stuff and land on your feet, but we'll touch on that soon. I think it's called a backflip or something. But, Matt, your moment of the game and your player of the game?
Moment of the game, I'm going to say, would be Lane's try. The way we just hit back straight away after they scored the 2 points, and then literally first set of 6 after that, we hit back. Lane ran the right angle, and that just pretty much opened them up for the rest of the game. My man in the match, I'm going to go a bit left field here. I think it's probably the best game I've seen him play, especially that second half, and that's Ryan Madison. That second half, he was just a machine. So, I think he's really stepped up that game. We've just done the little things right. There was a few moments there. We saw Dillon, his usual clock off in the middle of a game when a pass gets thrown to him and he dropped it. But other than that, it just seemed like after that Tigers game, it was just back to basics and do what we do best, roll through the middle.
Yeah, sure. Troy, yours?
Well, I don't know if you really call it a moment of the game because it was right at the end of the game, but it's good to see Mitchell get the field goal at the end.
He's listening to us, isn't he?
In a game.
He's got to be listening.
Well, that's right.
The week before.
Yeah, well, we've said, if you get that opportunity, why not just try and put it over and in a game situation? So,
how was his sideline conversions as well this week?
Much better.
I think he was listening to Hayden last week saying Guffo should take all the field goals.
So we can thank you boys for that, or Hayden for that anyway. But probably, RCG put in a massive effort again as well. I thought played a lot of minutes. Is that possibly going to be a bit of a burnout for him? Maybe, but who knows? But it was good to see his sparring partner Junior back as well.
Just on Matty there, speaking about how good Ryan Madison had, I just wanted to get your opinion, boys. In our last, here's a stat for you. In our last 3 games against Newcastle, Ryan Madison has actually been the first try scorer in each of those games. Now, if Ryan Madison had started in jersey 11 or 12, do you think that record would have continued?
Well, yeah, because Sean Lane scored the first try.
So. If he was off, probably he was on. You're right, but It's funny. I've backed Ryan Madison the last 3 games. He scored those tries against Newcastle.
I backed him in
Yeah.
the finals game and last year's game, but not in 2020.
In 2020, I was there in 2020 for that game with 7,500 Knights fans and about 5 Parramatta fans because of COVID. So I had a great time. I don't know how I made it out alive. All right, I'll give my favourite thing and I'll give you some stats quickly. You mentioned Madison. There was a running mate at the end of the game was absolutely superb, but 17 runs, 193 metres. I'm pretty sure I don't know if he was playing lock or front row. It was hard to keep up with what they were playing there for a while, but absolutely superb. Look, most of our players really, besides Cartwright, who only played 12 minutes. Don't get upset about that, Matt. Makatoa, 31 minutes. Everyone else, besides obviously Reid and Jacob Arthur, ran for over 100 metres. So pretty awesome stats there. It shows the domination that was on the field. Because you look at our sets, we had 7 more sets. They only completed 23 sets. We completed 35. But our run meters, 1,980 run meters fast to 1,232 for them. That's huge. I don't know if you guys know, that's 700 meters. That's 7 lengths of the footy field. So, I did that tonight 7 times. It was not fun. That's enough on that game. Before we go on.
Must I just say, how good did the Anzac jerseys look as well?
They actually did look quite good.
I must admit, I'm slowly coming around.
I'm slowly coming around. I can't wait to pay $40 for one.
I don't think they look good. I don't think they look good at all on the players. But the fans around the stadium at Newcastle, I thought they looked all right, really close up. I mean, I wasn't close enough to a player, but I thought that jersey, looking from a distance. But when I was lining up for food, looking at the jersey at the back, I'm going, it's all right, isn't it? It's not as bad as
it's growing on you. It's growing on you.
I had 2 people sitting in front of me. I was like, that's actually not too bad. Like I said,
I remember
if I pay more than $40 for it, I'll still be disappointed. I'm going to quickly touch on, I did something I very rarely do. Had my 11-year-old niece at the game, and she decided to ask me if we could stay around after the game and get photos and autographs of the players. And Adam, who was surviving on 2 hours sleep from the night before, said, sure we can, no worries. And we did. Most of the boys come out and had a good time. Most of them were friendly, chatting, getting photos. I've got some quality photos I sent through to you boys. I might get you to upload some of them, Matt, on the page, actually. And my young
fella, Brownie. Brown. Yeah, the one with Brownie.
Yeah, they all thought it was hilarious. And my young fella's only 2 in August, and he was obviously tuckered from the day, missed his sleep, and he's having a nap in his pram, and they're all coming and getting photos with him, and they're priceless memories from the 21st. But look, I want to give a shout out to Hayes Perham. When you first come into grade in football, you kind of, and he said it to me as well, like you kind of think to yourself, do these people want my autograph? Like all the big players there, and Junior, Mitch, Gutho, they're all screaming out to Gutho, and everyone, they all just wanted to be with them. And poor Hayes Perham, he's standing there with his grilled, which I was kind of jealous of because it made me feel like grilled. And he's just standing there, and I'm sitting there with a young fella, and I'm not chasing autographs. So I didn't want to do that. There was kids everywhere, and blokes that were pushing kids out the way and stuff, which is a whole nother story. But yeah, turned around and I said, hey, he's come over here. So I had a chat with him about 3 or 4 minutes, and I told him, I said, mate, I've been watching you play New South Wales Cup. You've been killing it. You deserve every opportunity you get. You were superb today. You did an awesome job out of position. And mate, the bloke sat there and spoke to me for 3 or 4 minutes, and I said, no, go eat your grilled. He was still been sitting there talking to me. He just, he appreciated it. Just a nice young bloke. I know he's probably, he's about 23, isn't he? 23, 24?
Yeah. I got a selfie with him a couple of weeks ago, and he was shocked that I asked him for a photo.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, I said it then, I'll say it now. He deserves every opportunity he gets. He's been a standout in New South Wales Cup. He's come across here kind of like Isaiah did and taken a risk on a career. Obviously, wasn't getting much game time at the Warriors. And look, I hope he gets a chance. I know we've obviously got a pretty handy fullback there in Gutho. I did call out about 3 or 4 weeks ago for a positional switch to give Parham a run. He's got his run anyway. He keeps his spot this week, and hopefully he has another standout game. So I want to see him in open space because I reckon he'll kill him. So, all right, let's move on to this week. Saturday night, 7:05, which isn't 7:05. That can't be right.
Yeah, it does say 7:05. Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
that can't be right.
Time difference.
Yeah, time.
It is the same
So it's
on. It's the same on
7:30.
Sportsbet. It's confirmed 7:05. Yep.
Yeah,
So the
time
other
difference.
game won't be finished then.
7:05 Northern Territory time.
Well, I'm not in Northern Territory. Mine should say 7:35, or is it 8 o'clock? I thought there was an hour difference up there.
No.
Yeah, right, half an hour. All right, whatever. They're kicking off sometime. We'll watch the Canterbury Roosters game, then we'll bounce on to the Parramatta game, and we'll just hope we get to watch it. If we turn on and it's 20 minutes into the game, we'll realise we're at Newcastle again and couldn't get in the stadium on time. But anyway, a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Look, the team pretty much remains the same, doesn't it, boys? 1-13, what we started on the weekend. Like obviously, Brown's in the centres, named in the centres this week with Arthur at 5'8". Makatoa, Madison, Kafusi, and Cartwright. So no changes at the current time. Obviously, there's another 7 blokes here on the bench that hopefully, who knows, one of them will come in. Look, I think it's going to give Arthur a bit of confidence being named in the 6. I know it might seem weird, but a full week of training. I know Brad in his press conference, or it might have been before the game, said, the boys had a week to practice. Then Dillon threw him under a bus and said he told me an hour before kickoff. So,
they had one day or something.
That's just Dillon being Dillon.
Dillon doesn't think when he speaks. We know that. Dillon doesn't think when he does a lot of actions, as we all know.
That's probably why he's not allowed on any other podcast.
Yeah, that was a quality podcast. That was a quality podcast, and then the video came out a few weeks after, didn't it, from Byron Bay? So anyway, so let's touch on this game. Like, I think it's a bit of a danger game for us. If you told me the Cowboys were going to be sitting 5th at the start of the year, I had them down the bottom of the ladder with the Knights. And we kind of could have predicted the bottom. I would have said Canterbury, West Tigers, Knights, Cowboys, bottom 4. Handy forward pack. They've always had a handy forward pack. Anyone with Tumalo on the team, but they've just had some breakout young kids this year as well. So I think it's a danger game. I'm going to stand by my point, and I'm going to say that I still think it's incredibly stupid by Parramatta to take this game to Darwin, because it's Burness. I know 50-50 results up there against the Cowboys, but it's getting cold down here. It's been wet. I know you can get a wet season up there as well. But I feel as though this game against the Cowboys, they're going to be acclimatised to the conditions more so. I feel like it's a game we need to make a good start, because I think we could be there for the taking at the end of it. So I feel if, 20 minutes to go, it's all of a sudden it's 14 or something, it's definitely a game the Cowboys are going to have the upper edge in. So I'll go to you first, Matt. Your thoughts on the upcoming game this week?
It's going to be a good one. I feel like Chad Townsend, he doesn't get enough credit, what he's brought to that team. And that young, is it Nene, the second rower? He's like lead and try scorer. He's one to watch. I think that we just stick to the game plan that we had against Newcastle. Just patience. Just don't try and score off every play. Just stick to the game plan and get through this game. And it'll be a test to see where we're at heading into Penrith. They can either be ruthless and put 50 on, or they just grind it out, and it just depends on what they do. I feel like this will be a grinding game because of the heat. So this is probably a good opportunity to get some more match fitness and grind out a win.
Yeah, Troy, we'll go to you next.
Yeah, crucial game, as they all are. Although, as you touched on, Cowboys are going reasonably okay at the moment. We have played them up there before. I think it was 2018. I was lucky enough to be up there. And it was Reid Marnie's debut game, and we got the chocolates that night. But it's a round field, so it's a little bit different to normal fields, as we don't usually play on round fields.
Would you say it's an oval?
Oval?
Oh. An oval? Is that what a round field's called?
Well, round, mate. Round. Anyway.
Like the SCG.
Anyway, the only ground that would be round is the SCG. So
MCG. We don't play there, but Origins.
The NRL don't really play there. But so as Matty touched on, Nanai's going to be one to look out for. Scotty Drinkwater, I think, at the fullback role is going to be one to keep an eye on as well. He's coming into form after starting the season late. Even the other back rower, Lukey as well. He's getting some good form. I think one good thing is that we've got the same team lineup as last week. So it's probably, if I'm right, probably the first week where we've had the same team named.
It's rare. It's rare this year.
Without a change. So hopefully a little bit of consistency in the same team being named might translate into form, which will be good. I don't think there'll be any changes. I think that'll be the team that's going to be actually playing, and the boys will get up there early this week. They tend to do a lot of community work up there, so they'll acclimatise Adam to the conditions up there. And it is our home game, but it's also about trying to get as many fans there as possible. So the Cowboys have got a good following up there, so it's good for gate revenues and things like that. So we can get them. It's going to be a good game.
Wonderful. Who am I up to? Matt or Hayden? I've forgotten.
Hayden.
Me, I agree with Matt and Troy in regards to the players to watch in Scott Drinkwater and Jason Taumalolo. But I think the other one you haven't mentioned is Valentine Holmes. I think Penasini's been good defensively, but Valentine Holmes is one of those players, and especially the form he's in, chasing down probably a Maroons jersey as he often does. I think it's going to be a huge test for Will Penasini going up against him this weekend. They're obviously sitting in 5th position, a huge following there in Darwin, so it's going to be a very tough game on Saturday night.
Just a quick one. Would you bring Opacek in or rest him for Penrith?
I'd give him another week off.
Yeah, I'd rest him for Penrith.
As I said, if we try and have the same team week in, week out, it's probably a little bit of a better thing.
I don't
100% right.
I don't think he'll play against Penrith, to be honest. If Russell's back, I think Russell might come in the team. And we're going early on Adam's prediction here, but I reckon that Parra might have a standout this week and actually get a run in the centres. So, we'll get to that later. Let's go to it now, actually. We're almost there. We're at the end of the night. Who's going first? Hayden, I know you get the shits when everything gets stolen off you. So, what are you going? You get correct score, player of the match, and that. Well, actually, let's go to last week first. What do we got? Do you remember last week's, boys?
Yeah, I've got it written down here.
We've got it written down. I'll go to the Graham.
Who got it?
Well, I said that we'll concede to both wingers, and we conceded to neither. We didn't even concede to the whole 17-man team.
So Hayden had 28-18 with Will to score first and both wingers for Knights to score. Troy had 24-20 with Papali'i to score and Knights to be leading at halftime 8-6.
Well, Papali'i scored, so he's 1 from 3.
Yeah, but not the first try, but he did score.
Yeah, that's true. We're going first try.
Adam had 44-10 with Hayes to score the first try, Hayes to get a hat-trick, and more Eels fans in the stands.
Well, look, I'm going to say now, 44-10, it wasn't bad on the attacking thing. We only needed one more try and we were there. But the fans in the stand one, we're going to touch on that now because I've been waiting to do this all night. But I'll go to Hayes. Hayes scored a try, right? He could have had another try easily. He could have had a couple of tries, to be honest. Like, we'll kill him. If Dillon Brown played, Hayes scored a hat trick. Yeah. I'll say that much now because that.
But Adam, he did it, mate.
Yeah, I know. I'm missing 60. Like 20 more points, they could have got 3 more tries. So anyway, he didn't play. But let's go to the fans in the stands. I know we touched on it before. Like, look, I've been in a lot of Parramatta games, and I pride myself to say that every time that we come to Newcastle, Parramatta fans turn up. There's no more satisfaction for me to read through a couple of Newcastle groups I've been added to over the years, and usually when we lose, which hasn't happened for a while, and to see their fans going, there's so many Parramatta fans. Where's all our fans? Blah, 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 blah. This isn't good enough. And, it's like a Parramatta home game. It was a Parramatta home game. There was 26,000 people there. And if there wasn't 12 or 13,000 Parramatta fans, I'd be very surprised. You had your Knights members areas that were obviously packed in the middle. There's scatters of Parramatta fans there, but all the corners, half the hill and the top sections, which isn't member seats, was all Parramatta. Back up behind you, Hayden. I know you probably heard it when the chants were happening and stuff, but that top stand from you was 75% Parramatta.
Wow. That's where I sat a few years back for my first time, I think.
I
think they had quite a few buses go up as well.
I think I had 1 or 2 buses go up as well. Yeah. So
I kind of disagree, Adam. I kind of think, I could be wrong, I'm going to take a guess and say there was around 8,000 to 10,000 Parramatta fans there. I reckon Newcastle fans turned up in their numbers, and there are a lot of Newcastle fans not in pride jerseys, just in normal clothing in the area that I was in, and that back hill and that seating area. I obviously know the Parramatta fans were over that side and you could hear them behind, but I think it was either pretty even or Newcastle fans did turn up in some.
I'm going to say it was even, and they were just quiet because they had nothing to cheer about for 80 minutes. But look,
there weren't many Henny Penny jumpers up there.
Nah, mate, they're giving up. They're giving up on the Joey Johns jumpers now. They all wear the Ponga jersey. I had a mate that sits on the Northern Hill with his old man every game. He's a massive Knights fan. Member, die hard. And literally, like, I was sitting next to Simon, who is involved with the Blue and Gold Barracks, and he had the drum next to me and stuff. I told him to come up because I had a spare seat because Mum and Dad got the Rona and couldn't go. My mate came over at half time and he said, when that first chant, we got the chant going, when we got the penalty that led to Sean Lane's try, get us upfield. I was sitting there and I said, God, we need a penalty so we can get the Parra chant going so they know how many fans are here. And we got a fucking penalty, so I was pretty happy with that. And then we got the penalty, and my mate came over and goes, at half time, when you started that chant, he went around the whole ground. I mentioned the one after Isaiah Papali'i. He's one you can hear it as clear as day on the TV. And, the Knights fans are left with 20 minutes to go. And when the stadium was still more than half full at the end of the game, that's when you can realise how many fans are there. So I'm claiming a victory. There. I've got the closest score. That's 1 point to Adam for the week. So mark that down. Right, let's go to this week's. Hayden going, fly me away. What do you got?
I reckon the boys will have an early grind. They'll still have an early lead. I'm going to go first try scorer, Hayes Perham. I actually think Parramatta will win this game quite well. I'm going to go 32-16. So the boys to win by 16. My bold prediction for the week, I'm going to go a little bit left field here, and I could just say the prediction and then not say what I think is going to happen, but I'm going to name my two as well. So I reckon 2 players from Parramatta's interchange will score this weekend. And the 2 players I'm going to back for a try is Makahesi Makatoa and Bryce Cartwright, both to score a try.
You like that, Matt? Yeah. All right, Matt, give us yours while you're writing down.
I'm going to go Parra. I'm going to go 36-10. I'm going to say Reed, first try scorer. And my bold prediction. Oh, you were going to go Reed. My bold prediction is either Junior. See, it's hard. I'll say Junior a try assist to Regan to score.
Yep. All right. Troy?
Look, it's going to be I'm going to say 28-12 scoreline. My first try scorer is going to be Big Papa again, I think. I think Papali'i scored the first try. And my bold prediction, I really hate one commentator certainly talking about this, but I'm going to say less than 10 bottles of water for Brad Arthur.
You're killing me. Is it killing me?
Someone should have went first.
There's a certain commentator, I won't name him, but he loves going on about the bottles of water for Brad Arthur.
We all?
Unless there's a sponsorship deal intact for Brad, I think it's going to be less than 10 line. Yeah, I know.
Let's all have a guess of the number. Write it down. I'm going to guess 8.
This is my prediction. We're getting to me now. I'm sticking with Reed first try scorer because I'm confident it's going to come in. It's going to be a little grubber back on the inside, a little deflection. He's going to pick it up and score. 18-16 Parra. I'm going to give you 2 bold predictions now that's been stolen. I'm going to go Parramatta to be ahead 18 points to 4 with 20 minutes to go and the Cowboys to make a fight back. But I'm going Brad Arthur, 13 plus bottles of water. So that's my prediction. And I actually asked him.
Got something going?
Actually, they should have BYO. I actually asked him last week how many bottles of water he's going to drink. Yeah, so there's my predictions. I want to finish off with I'm going to finish off with one more story. All right. It's a good story from actually I was out there waiting for the boys and Reed come across and as I said, the young fella was sleeping in the photos. I said to Reed, and Reed goes, he looks like he's having a good dream. I said, yeah, Reedy. I said, he's dreaming about you doing a backflip. And he loved it.
And
He
what
just
did Reed
laughed,
say?
looked at me. I said, mate, if you keep doing these ones every time you score and kissing your emblem, people are going to keep talking. So let's see if he does it this week, if he scores a try.
Is
I've
that a
given
bold
him the
prediction?
advice. He's getting them talking. So, well, that'll do us for tonight. Hopefully we're back next week. Obviously reviewing a game against the Cowboys. Hopefully a win and previewing that massive game out at whatever they call that stadium out there now at Penrith.
Bluebet.
It's our last ever trip to Bluebet, Centrebet. They like their betting out there, don't they? So our last ever trip out to Bluebet Stadium next week before they knock it down. So most likely our last trip because you wouldn't think there'd be a semi-final out there. There could be if we finish first and fourth or second and third. Who knows? But anyway, time will tell. So that'll do us for this week and look forward to next week.
Go Parra.
Go Parra.
Peace.
Thanks, boys.